Hello everyone, Elvian here. We are back with Bleach Thousand Year Blood War Core 4 Final Core The Calamity, episodes 1 to 3. Uh I would say live reaction, but I can't I couldn't do that in the movie theater. I don't think they would let me do that. Uh so this is a would be a live reaction. This is actually a review. Usually I do reactions on this channel, but I'm doing a review. I just saw the first 3 episodes in theaters, so I just like to talk about them. And this is going to be from the perspective of someone who has read the manga and who's a really big fan of Bleach. So you could get, even if you've seen the episodes, if you haven't read the manga, you might get spoiled here. So yeah, um, this is going to be harder than what I than like just talking about the episode that just aired, because I would be able to go back and rewatch it easily. But no, I can't. I have to go back. I have to go by my memories on on it, and I don't have the best memory. It's not that great, but there's a lot that they've added. First 3 episodes went by. They are still adapting a lot of material kind of quickly, so I'm really wondering where the bulk of the additions will come in. There's new scenes. Most of the new scenes are with Uryu versus Haschwalth, and very justified. I think that fight needed the most. Although Urahara and Yoriichi versus Askin and didn't have much in the way of additions. I think it might have some of the fight choreography might have been new. I don't want to. I could check, but I just want to get this out, man. I don't have much time left tonight, so most of it is by the manga. Although I think how if the anime adapted it, they did a good job in adapting what was on the page. They just didn't expand it much, which I don't know. I felt when it comes to the shoot stoppable fights, I feel like there was a big difference between the Pernita fight, the Lil fight, and then I feel like there's the Lil fight, the Pernita fight, and then there's the Askin and Gerard fights, because both you look at Lulu and Pernita fights, they're both let's see they both are fights with flashbacks, okay, and help expand upon a character more. And in the Pernita fights, it's Lulu, or in the Pernita fight, it's Nimu. In the Lulu fight, it's both Kyoraku and Nanao. Honestly, it's a bit more Kyoraku, but the point of flashback is to emphasize Nanao and her relationship with Kyoraku. And both of the fights, I love the flashbacks, how they tie into the fight, and it impact the characters, and how it kind of contributes to one big theme of Thousand Year Blood Work, which is kind of like a passing of the torch from one generation to the next. And that kind of theme present in both of those fights, also present in a few other fights. Urahana versus Kenpachi, passing the torch from the original first Kenpachi to the next Kenpachi. You can kind of see that in how Kiraku takes the mantle of Captain Commander from Yamamoto. And by the end of this, none of the original captains are alive. So it feels like fresher, a much fresher Gotei 13. It's taking out the mantle. You can kind of see also a bit in Rukia versus Asnot, where Byakuya kind of guides Rukia with her Bankai. And I think that really helps contribute to the wider theme. Not all fights have it, but it just kind of feels weird that that dynamic was not present at all in Kyoraku, or in not Kyoraku, in the Askin and Gerard fights. I feel like there might have been a flashback they could have done, but I'm not sure. I feel like honestly, you have to rewrite the fight. Obviously there's the Urahara, Iwarichi. They'd have to do a lot. Sorry, there's a lot we don't know about them, and Kubo's just holding on to the backstory. So that would have been good to see. You could. There is Yushiro, who's kind of like the next gen of the Shioans. So maybe they could have done something like that. I think it could have been cool. But it's still, the fight's good. That's very good. And they have added some details with Urahara's Bankai. I like the way it appears, kind of a creepy vibe. That's pretty cool. And we get they don't explain more about how his Bankai works, but we do get to see him use it in a way that wasn't really depicted in the manga. Like he is able to propel himself forward with the stitches in a way that Kubo said afterwards in an interview. There was an interview you see after the movie. One of the scenes talked about is Askin versus Urahara, and how he was moving in a way he didn't depict on the page, even though he kind of felt like that's what was happening. So it's good to see that detail in the page. Also, it was kind of depicted that in the fight, Urahara was using his Bankai to heal himself from the poison, or basically the effects of the Gift Ball Deluxe. But when reading that, I kind of felt like he was reassembling his body to give himself super strength. But I feel like it's a bit more that he was mostly focused on healing himself and distracting Askin so that Grimshaw could come in. And speaking of Grimshaw, I did not see that portal thing. Wait a minute. I do have the manga up here, actually. So there's this page from the manga. I think before up until now, I believe most people have thought, myself included, that this is a portal, that Urahara made through his Bankai. But you don't see this portion in the anime. It's just stitches. So I think Grimshaw actually wrote the stitches, similar to how Urahara did in the anime version of the fight, which is interesting. I guess I guess he was hiding his Ratsu just to be able to sneak up on Urahara or Askin. So that's interesting. it can be interesting to see how some of the subtle differences in how the anime goes about it can change how we view um how the powers work. It was similar how um or Unohana's Bankai was, despite not having any explanation beyond the visuals, that completely changed how we view how Unohana's Bankai works, and we know a lot more about it now. So that's cool. So yeah, they finished the Askin fight. Now the Gerard fight is Gerard fight, Haschwalth fight, Ihobak fight are the only three that are ongoing. So kind of surprisingly, Ishin and Ryukin have not appeared yet, even though some late in Core 3 they we saw their arrival earlier than they were in the manga. But I wouldn't be surprised if they appear very soon. Um, that's cool. Let's see. Also, the Gerard fight. So the Vizards, they were kind of built up. At the end of last core, and like, oh, we'll finally get justice for the Vizards. I don't really think we got justice for the Vizards, but it's kind of a weird thing where if they didn't build it up like that, I feel like I'd be more satisfied now than I would be if they didn't build it up. Like, sure, but okay, we get to see some cool things, like, oh, Shinji using his Shikai again. That's cool. He should have done that originally. But it's cool, you know. Um, do we even see some original stuff? Like, how she still use the chocolate sliders stuff? Um, Mashiro got a Mashiro kick in. Like, okay, okay. Um, like, I'm glad Mashiro's there. Mashiro originally didn't appear at all in the second invasion, so that's a step up. Um, but yeah, ultimately it's not their fight. But a shame. Maybe there's still time, I guess, I suppose. Maybe they could get a second win later. It could happen. It could happen. Cope. Okay. I'll cope. I'll cope how I want. Um yeah, Hoffnung is getting some more use, Gerard's sword. Originally only Zaraki chipped it to activate the recoil effect. If you chip Hoffnung, you get a slice in your stomach, chest. Um, and now, Byakuya and Toshiro also have been sliced up now. So that's something. Maybe they might need more help. It could be. Could be. Um, maybe. So it ends in like they stop adapting the Gerard fight at this point in 668, but basically right before uh, Kenpachi activates Bankai. So, like in episode 4, he'll probably activate Bankai. That's interesting. I do think there might be probably setting up something bigger for this fight, which would be cool to see. They might go with using the Quincy Cross to beat him, sloshing that. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. And during the Yuha Baha fight, at least the Ichigo and Orihime versus Yuba, like just round one, and that's that is going up. It's going pretty good, I think. They they actually did. They actually mentioned that Ichibei wanted to potentially make Ichigo the Soul King. That's they're implementing can't fear your own world lore into the anime, which is very great. Very very great. Really helps um the whole dynamic here, because like a lot of the stuff that I like about Thousand Year Blood War and that it makes it interesting, just kind of wasn't in the manga. Um, it's very good to see it in the anime. So it's like, okay, sure, Ichigo knows he might have been could have been the Soul King. And are also mentioning that okay, in the manga they don't really address problem the problem that Yuhabak is now the Soul King, essentially. Like, he absorbed Reo. He's now the Soul King. If Ichigo killing Yuhaba is essentially like him killing the Soul King again, like he's essentially aiming for the result that Yuhaba wanted. Um, so just very interesting. We do see Ichibei, doing some ritual. It seems getting his powers back. I do like how they're establishing some more lore, maybe like refining it. Like, oh, black is the power of the Soul King. Um, like we saw the torrents of the Soul King's Ratsu. It's black. We saw that in manga too. Um, and Yuba throws it around a lot in this fight. Um, but that power is also tied to Ichibei. So Ichibei does have a role that's potentially beyond like what we might have imagined, but I I hope it expands more on that, because it's so interesting, man. It's so interesting. Um, but yeah, I like that the Ichigo's resolve, even in the face of like a potential disaster, to keep on fighting. It's very good, and they're also doing right by Orihime. And there's a new flashback with her and Tatsuki and reminiscing about a flower that reminded her of Ichigo, and new scenes with her. She is very powerful, actually. She is very powerful. We knew she was powerful in the manga because her shield was able to, you know, deflect torrents of, Yobak's Ryatsu. But it's even more apparent now in the anime. So I was always sympathetic to people in Bleach power scaling communities who would say that Orihime is top 10 most powerful characters because of her feats in the fight, according to the manga. But I always thought that it was indeterminate, Like, we don't really know for certain, like, how much Yuba was trying, or how, like, tough these, this Ryatsu made, you know, manifest here. Whoops. Like, this stuff. Like, how strong is it, Like, how, like, what is it even, You don't have much of a barometer to see, power scaling like this. But she was able to stand despite being Ratsu flexed. Like when Yulabach in the front flashback rode up on the horse and that nailed Basby to his knees. It's not like that, he's still able to stand. And Yuhabaha gave Orihime his praise for being able to do that. And she even got beaten up a bit by Yuhaba, but she's still standing. Because I always wondered, like, okay, is Orihime like a glass? Not like a glass cannon, but like, can she take hits even if it's not shielded by Rika? And apparently, the answer is yes. She has more durability than you'd think, which does make sense. When Orihime is introduced, she's introduced as like a girl who very ditzy, prone to getting hurt. When she's introduced, she's like has like a leg injury. And yeah, very. I guess she's has grown because he did technically train with Urahara. Same with Chad. In Wakamundo, but we don't really see much of it, and some parts of it were like cut in the anime. But like when I say parts, I mean very small parts, like very small. But yeah, she did train, so maybe this is partly fruits of her training. Um, she has gotten stronger. You see her get stronger for the series, so I think it's great. It's very great, very great. Ichihime power couple, love it. Hope we get a Renruki power couple moment like this. Is that too much to ask? Renji and Rukia fighting? Maybe. I want to believe. Yay. Uh, I mentioned Chad. He's still fighting the statues with Ganju. But okay. The statues, there's a bit more to them. You can see when at least one of them had parts of Yuhabog's Ratsu, I say Ratsu, it's like energy taking form, with like eyeballs and stuff. So it's like they're being controlled by Yuba, which is interesting. I guess this gives the statues more lore, make them more menacing. I wonder if we'll expand on that because it's kind of similar to what the Bambis thought when they try to fight Yuba. So I do wonder if they'll expand on that. That would be great. That would be great. There's so much, man. Uh, where do I even begin with Uryu versus Haschwalth? Like, it's like a brand new fight, man. It's like there's nothing like that. Okay, there is one thing that I'm curious about with this fight. Let me just like I feel like it is weird that um the Yobok's awake, but Haschwalth is still using the power of the Almighty. But I guess apparently there's still follow. This still was happening in the manga, so I guess I don't know. Like at some point, while Yuba is still awake, they just switch back, even though they should have switched already. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Um, I don't know. But yeah. Anyways, Haschwalth gets similar to how the statue got. You guys saw Yobok's Ryatsu on him. So does Haschwalth, and can use it similarly to how um Yobok does, which is interesting. I think Kubo in the interview, or one of the directors said that it's kind of like his Volshindig, although it's not actually a Volshindig. Haschwalth was a Quincy built without the power to manipulate Reishi, only share his power. Although I feel like he should have been able to learn that eventually, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, his new form is cool. I like the contrast between the blackness on Haschwalth now with the light from Uryu's Volshindig, which he does use his Volshindig. Very cool. And we see like more of the fight between them. It's very very cool. I one of the stand-up moments there for me was when he, in his Volshindig, Uryu can manipulate these arrows, and he makes swarms of them. But he sent a swarm of them at Haschwalth, and Haschwalth jumped from arrow to arrowhead and to pin Uryu down to get up the close distance between them. That was very cool. Good showcase of his ability to see the future. Like he can do that. Very cool. Which Haschwalth in the manga said that his power isn't actually as suited battle as was it isn't as suited to battle as the Almighty that he has, which I feel like is maybe a bit of an over simplification, because he can still do a lot of stuff with the power to see the future, even if it's not the complete version of the Almighty that Yhwach has. It's still very cool. We don't see the balance yet, so that'll be cool. We do see Horn of Salvation briefly. There's a Juji show at some point in there. They haven't blown open the room that they're in yet, palace they're in yet, and haven't used the Getsukaten show mixed with Gran Reisero yet. That'd be cool. That'd be cool to see when we in episode 4. It might take some. It'll take some. We have like over a month to go, but oh man, I can't wait. Some things to note. In the movie, theatrical release, they did not show the opening or ending. The credits were, I guess, like merged into one long, movie style credit reel. But the opening and ending songs were shown or played over the credits. They sound good, and I can't wait to see the visuals for the opening and ending. That should be very cool. There's a lot to look forward to. I wonder if I'll be able to recognize any differences between the movie and TV release, if there are any. Probably more focused on the episodes 4 to 13, but there could be. There could be. There's also a scene in the World of the Living We have Genta, Uru, and Tessai, which I look. It was a far down my wish list, but Tessai doing something was there. But yeah, I guess that wasn't meant to be. But yeah, they saw a kind of a rift in dimensions. So yeah, there is. I do like how the rift between dimensions is being brought back into the climax, because that's not really present in the manga until like the very end of the fight. Like the very end of the fight was when the world started collapsing a bit. Um, so that I think it's cool that they're kind of bringing it forward, to bring up the stakes. It's very cool. It's very cool. There's so much good stuff here, man. Uh, just trying to remember, like, okay, what was new, anything that I miss. Uh, it started with a CGI, like a CG shot where they jumped from battle to battle to kind of like shortly recap, like, okay, this is who's fighting who, and this is where they're fighting. And I thought that was very well executed. Pretty well executed. Yeah. Okay, I will, when the episodes come out, I will do a reaction to them, but it's obviously not gonna be like a very blind reaction. Although by that point, I think I'd still love rewatching them. So I still would do it. Okay, I'll still do it. It looks like there's going to be like, well, I'll put this on Friday. So tomorrow, if you're watching this day it comes up, there will be a MV, another Jump manga MV for Bleach. Apparently, it's going to be focusing on the Lost Aged arc, Wolverine arc, which I'm excited for. I'm surprised they're making it. They made another one of those Jump MVs so soon after the last one. That was the last thing I reacted to on this channel. So that's cool. Very cool. Yeah, Bleach is back, and obviously there's I guess there's like more news surrounding the stuff or surrounding the series, like rumors that when Sakamoto Days ends, Bleach 1000 Year or Bleach Hell arc will start. That's exciting. Check out my manga channel. You might see that if you know if it does come true. Yeah, there's a lot of excitement, man. A lot of excitement. I can't wait. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.